I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet.
Welcome everyone to the Moose Vu Sesh, where we are giving hope in a different dose. I'm the Black Moose.
I'm Jackson.
That's right, my special guest in the time where Vu is absent. Please pray for him. He had a stroke some weeks back and still recovering. But please pray for him for a speedy recovery, that he will come back and have a sesh together. In the meantime, Jackson's here with us. Thanks, bro, for covering.
No worries.
And be sure to subscribe. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all the socials and listen to our podcasts. And whatever you can do, man, if you can share it, that is that's probably the most greatest way of marketing and the most effective way in us able to get the message out. Way better than social media marketing, word of mouth. And right now we have a special guest. We've known him for a show over a decade. We have Chris Razmovski. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out.
Now, I remember you were in Strathfield. You were pastoring.
Yep.
And then not long after you ventured over to Jakarta.
That's right. Yep.
What sort of inspired you to go to be a missionary in Jakarta?
Yeah, I guess it's something that we always, the idea of the adventure.
Yep.
The thought of going to the ends of the world. And to be honest, I've never been to Jakarta before.
Yeah.
Never been there. I've been to Bali.
Yeah.
Quite like Bali, but as we found out, it was very different. But just wanted to do something for Jesus, and just the idea of a missionary, just had pastors and friends as missionaries, and it excited me. Something
Wow.
that
I think it was actually my first experience hearing about people get sent out, because I was a new convert at the time when we came for an impact team once at your church. And, and then next minute they're like, oh, they're going to Indonesia. And I'm like, what's that mean? I didn't even know what it meant. So, it was good. Praise God.
And we had the church that I went to, the Fairfield Church, sent out some guys to help you out.
That's right.
And
yeah.
they came back and they returned with a crazy story. Now, I've only heard their side.
Actually, there's a few of them. There was, come to think of it, there was James and Pamela.
Yep.
They came, and also Ross and Leanne. With them. I'm just trying to think of which others might have been there, but remember those. Actually, after that, we kind of I actually had a good chat with James just recently, actually, just after conference, because just to get his thoughts on when he came back from that and what he thought. But it was a man. That was I remember going to I think when we just picked them up from the airport.
Yep.
And I got a call from someone saying, look, can you pick up some other people at the airport? And I said, well, no worries. So we headed back out there. We're going back out there. And look, we'd only been there for 6 months. And the traffic, the driving is it's chaos. Anyone who's been anywhere in Asia with the driving, I mean, they're bad enough here as it is. But there, it's times 10, And I remember a bike just chopped through in front of me, clipped my bumper, and someone told me before, and if you ever hit a bike, don't stop. And I thought, well, no worries, I'll just file that away. But so this bike's clipped my bumper, and I just thought, I can't not stop. The guy's falling over. The moment a motorbike goes down there, all the other motorbikes go there. They pull up and they want to see if he's okay.
Yeah.
I stopped, and so I get out to see if the guy's okay. And all of a sudden, it's a big scene, and the guy's holding his arm, so I get his arm. I can't communicate with him. Nobody spoke English. Trying to make him move his arm to see if he's okay. Seemed okay, and I thought, all right, I'll get back in the car. Everything's fine. And then they stopped me from getting in the car. They said, no, back out there. And I'm like, mate, he looked okay to me. And went back out there. Some more exercise. And I went out there, and he's out there. He's trying to squeeze. He had a bit of a graze, and he's trying to
like
squeeze
right
it.
in front of your face.
Oh, he's doing it in front of me.
No
I'm like,
shame.
Wow.
And he's trying to squeeze it to make it bleed, to make it look worse than what it is. I'm like, come on, dude, you can't do that. It's like, so I thought, this is just, this is fine to me. And I went to get back in the car, and Mate, at that point, I got jumped. Mate, punches, kicks, just getting in the back of their head, and just all I know, mate, they just start attacking the car. My wife was in the car. Ross and Leanne were in the back seat.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Mate, I thought
Crazy.
Roscoe's going to jump out and help. Mate, I just saw the elbow hit the little to lock the door. And you know what? I don't blame him because it was mate. I'm not joking. There would have been about 30 guys, and man, I was just overwhelmed. And I mean, I've been in brawls before, man, but that was like when you get like that mob mentality. That's a different ball game, man.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
like you've just killed their family and they're coming to get you. That's kind of that sort of anger.
Yeah.
Hard to explain, you know.
It's crazy. Was that when like you first went over there? How long were you a missionary before that happened?
Nah, man, it was about 3 months. I was there for 3 months, I think.
Still
3 or
pretty
6
soon,
months. It's still raw,
that's not
still.
long.
Nah, still finding my way there, and I'm telling you, man, there's 30 guys, and they've just mobbed me. They just jumped me, and I'm thinking, look, do I fight back? I don't want to aggravate them, but in my mind, they're already aggravated. These guys want to kill me, and they've picked me up, and I must have had about 5 on this arm, 5 there, 5 on this leg, 5, and they're just carrying me. And they're carrying me to an underground car park, and I'm thinking, man, this is serious. And at the same time, they're rocking the car. My wife rang one of the guys in church and said, "This is what's happening to my husband. What do I do? Do I ring the police?" And the guy laughed. He said, "Forget the police." He
Yeah.
said, let's just pray." And they just began to pray. They began to pray in tongues, and meanwhile they're carrying me down here, and I'm thinking, I don't have any ID, and you know what? If they're not even going to find it. They're not even going to recognise the body. They're not going to know anything. And in my, I thought, I don't want to die like this.
No.
That's when it sort of hit me that these guys are going to kill me. And at that point, I just said, no, I'm not going to die like this. And I just got an arm free and began to. Eventually, I got one arm free, and then from then on, it was just
Bit of ground and pound.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
and I just freed myself because it's life or death for me at that
Yeah.
point. And I just began to run for my life. I saw a shop. It was like a department store, and I began to run for my life. And there's 3 guys that are trying to stop me. And I must have just jumped. I just speed humps, stepped all over them. I ran inside this store, and for some reason they didn't come inside
Yeah.
because there's security guards there, and they're fearful of all the security guards. And I run inside, and I'm trying to hide, and I run to the lifts. And then I thought, man, if I go up. Eventually, I'm going to come back down anyway, so there's no point in going up. I thought if I go down, they're going to be down there anyway. So I don't know what to do. I went inside the toilets and I thought, man, I'm just going to find a cavity in the ceiling. I'm just going to jump up there and just hide here overnight and just come out the next. That's what I was thinking, you know. And I'm in the toilets and I'm thinking, I'm trying to work out what to do. And all of a sudden, this guy in a blue suit, really finely dressed Indonesian man, and just like a blue, like I don't know, it's like that's one of those suits with some nice gold tassels everywhere,
Right.
and just and he said he's got a hat on, like a
Like a general or something.
yeah, kind of dressed very formal,
Wow.
and he says to me, "Mister, I'm here to help you," and I'm like, "No way, no, get out of here, mate, no, mate, I don't believe you. There's no way in the world I'm coming out there with you." It didn't dawn on me that he spoke English, and then I thought, mate, I'm not coming, forget about it. And I'm in there in the toilets, and there's other people there, and then he comes back, and then he comes with a lady. She's dressed identical, same way, blue suit, very, and it's like, and then she says, "Mister, you have to come with us. We're here to help you. We want to help you." And then it dawned on me, there's no one here that spoke English.
Yeah.
There's one guy that speaks English, and then all of a sudden she speaks English, and it's like, mate, I think something's going on here. You know, that's when I began to think that, hang on for a minute, this is unusual.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you know what? It could be God. I walked out there, and they confronted the pack, and they just began to talk to them, and they said, "Look, this is what you need to do," and give them 20,000 rupees. You know, it's about $2 or something, and that was it, man. I walked back out to the car, and they escorted me back to the car, and I couldn't believe, my wife couldn't believe that she saw me again.
Wow.
And it's like these people here, they help. And mate, I looked around, they were gone.
What?
And I'm like, where'd they go? They'll just steer, and like within seconds, you know, they were just gone. And I remember sharing the story with Pastor Payne. He said, well, they were angels. That's what they were. And it's like, wow, okay.
Wow,
yeah,
just
interesting
for a moment.
story, man. But yeah, one of the few where sort of God rescued me.
Man.
How long were
miraculous.
you in Indonesia for?
Yeah, nearly 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Was that
Not
like
quite.
the only time that you got like into a situation like that,
Nah,
or
there
was
was
there
a
other
few,
things
man.
that?
There was a few like that. There was a bit of tension as well with the Australian government back then as well.
Right.
They'd been spying on the president. There's this whole thing, Five Eyes. I think it's Australia, Singapore, America, I
Right.
think the UK, and I think it might be New Zealand or something. They call it the Five Eyes.
Yeah.
They share their intelligence. One of them had been spying on the president there, or eavesdropping. They'd been tapping his phone calls. So from that, there was just a lot of tension. There's protests outside our embassy, and I confronted a couple of rowdy people over the course of that period
Yeah.
as well. Yeah,
the
psychos.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
What I can also appreciate from you, Chris, is your family.
Yeah.
Your family, and seeing Trent and Dee, and then Shane and Steph, and then it just goes on. You've left a great legacy, and now you're a granddad.
That's right.
A young granddad, by what I gather.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you manage to? What are some key things that if you can look back now, what are some key things in you've sort of done in raising your kids for them to come to this point now?
I was pretty strict, man. As a dad, I was pretty strict. My kids' friends used to joke about. That's the kind of dad that we joke about, we laugh at. Well, maybe not laugh about. They might laugh about it now, but I was always pretty strict. I enforce. We have curfews. I enforce curfews, and I'm probably more strict than most parents. And I'm not embarrassed by that.
Yeah.
That's I think it's important. I think boundaries are important with kids.
100%.
And sometimes I said, well, my friends can do that. They can do that. Sleepovers, I'm not a big fan of that. There's things that I've just and I don't know. Maybe it was being raised in a strict sort of way. Not that I followed any rules at home anyway, but I think it's just for a European background. My parents were pretty harsh with some stuff. It's probably why I rebelled at a young age, but I think that just carried through. And I tell my kids, I do this because I love you. You know what? You won't appreciate it now, but you'll appreciate it later. And they do. They do. I think it's important, man. And you're protecting them. You do that because you love them.
They got good relationships now, right? Most of them are married now. How many you got left?
So well, there's three. So Diane, Trent, Steph and Shane, and Sophie and Luke.
Yeah.
And so all good, all great son-in-laws. Mate, you can't ask for better. Good guys living for God, and they're good, man. They're men. They're respectful. You can have an adult conversation with them. They're workers. They're spiritual. Good families as well. Great, and both their, Corey and Sharon, and the Munzers, Darren and Joe, just good mates of ours. So it's been good. We always used to go away plenty of times. So it's good, man. There's a good camaraderie there as well.
I know a lot of their stories. I'm not sure I know much of yours other than you being the pastor, because I know you as pastor. What's something like your testimony a little bit in a short form, obviously because of time, but how you got saved and your turning point to.
So back I was raised, man. My parents came over there, so they're Macedonian background. Religious background, so Orthodox, Macedonian Orthodox. And my parents came over here, like maybe I don't know about maybe I'm not sure of you guys, but some there's others that can probably relate to parents coming over. Not much opportunity, looking to try and do something in a young country, Australia, but opportunities. So they're working hard, they're saving, not much money to go around. So you're trying to, any money that I was going to come up with, basically it's through your own means, which you learn to hustle a bit, you come up with some ideas, which when you think back now, that was a good training ground for some, for entrepreneurial flair nowadays. So it's quite good actually, but it might not have been above board and 100%, but some of it. Yeah, it wasn't bad. So you come through the, you do all that as young kids trying to make a buck or two. But in my mind, funny thing is, you go to church twice a year, Christmas, Easter, and you think, well, I'm a Christian. What else would I do? I believe in God. I wear a cross. I go to church for those 2 days, and I was in the cars. I had an SLR at the time, and used to park my car in front of the church. I had a big 357. I used to smoke it up when
Toronto in a drop tank.
Yeah, I used to love it, man. And I was in the cars, me and the boys, and it's like we're blessing them with our, with our presence, just full of ourselves.
See, guys, it's not only me. It's not only me.
But no, I was in the cars, man. I was in the fast cars, and but twice a year, man, go light a candle, do your cross, and it's like mate, straight to the clubs and and you know what? If I was at that point, mate, I'm a Christian. What do you mean? And then one day, someone told me about, challenged me about my belief and invited me out to a service. It was '87. I went out to the Potter's House of Bexley at the time, which is the Hurstville Church now.
Yep.
Walked into a service. I never heard a message like that, man. It was an incredible message, just about, what Jesus had done for mankind and just what he did on the cross. And I knew that, but I just didn't fully understand the whole thing and how I make that mine and how I make that personal with salvation and just a simple prayer, man. And my life changed, man. I began to feel bad, you begin to feel challenged when you lie. You feel, you just change. My life changed, man.
And did you go back to your traditional church after that point?
Nah, no way.
Right.
I mean, for weddings, but no, just not really, man. The more I began to read the Bible, the more it just began to look like this is a scam.
Yeah.
In one sense, and I don't mean that. I don't say that disrespectfully. I say that respectfully because it's still a church. Some people are doing it. They don't even know they're doing it. They have no idea that in their mind.
They're like lost sheep.
Yeah, well, it's just tradition. It's just passed down, and you just do it because you've been taught that this is what they're doing. I've probably been taught the same thing, so it's just tradition in one sense, And then it's just I met Martz as a teenager.
Yeah.
And I used to witness to her. I used to share things with her. We used to go out. I'd sing songs, church songs, and by about 18, I began to drift away. And then we started going to clubs and different things together. And it was only, that was 18. Before I know it, here I am, 19. So I'm just trying to fast forward through. And I'm 21. She comes and tells me she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And I said, well, man, look, mate, I can't even look after myself. You have to have an abortion. There's no way. I said, look, we love each other, but look, there's time for that. And she's like, no way, man. I can't. But initially she's like, oh, I'll go along with it. And I remember going to an abortion clinic, man, and sitting there filling out the form. We're sitting there, we're waiting. And I still remember the doctor that was going to do that procedure. And we're sitting there and she just says, no, I can't go through with it. I'm like, are you serious? You're going to ruin my life? And I said, no, come back here, man. She's like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. And she's not a Christian or anything, but, she's Italian. But just that sense of, I don't want to do it. You know what? You do what you want. If you want to go, you go. But I don't want to do it. And I did. I said, no. I tried to call her bluff thinking if I say I'm leaving that she went ahead with it, man. So I just went my way. She went her way. And she had the baby. And then we thought, well, let's try and make this happen. No good for. Then we had another baby, and thinking somehow we're going to fix it. I mean, that's the insanity.
Had another one.
Yeah. This will fix it,
Another trouble.
And we had a go at trying to make it work, living together and just crime, drugs, just different things, man, and just angry. Both of them were just out of control, and so we.
Forgive me for my ignorance, but I didn't know that abortions were still were legal back then.
Oh, well, we went in the clinic and they were going to do it. So
full on,
$300-400, I think it was. It was a procedure, and that's it, man. I don't know. They were there. Yeah. Maybe on the surface, I guess they're not advertising with the neon sign out the front, but they were there, and they would have done the procedure if Martz had wanted to sit through it, but. There we were, man, and so here we were, and it was just a nightmare. Life was a mess, and her with alcohol, just drugs, and I've been mucking around, been selling, just making money in different ways, doing different things, and and we just said, nah, we're going to kill it. We're either going to hurt ourselves, and this is a very toxic relationship for the kids to grow up in. We went our own way, and she remembers, she said, you know what, my life's a mess. She walked into a Catholic church because that's her background.
Yeah.
And she says that she was in tears, just broken, just looking for someone to reach out and give her some help. And the priest just walks past her, and she's like, he's like, did he even see me? And then the week after, she walked into a potter's house at Cogra because she remembers all the good things that I said.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, this is the thing that people that leave, they don't get this. If you leave and you speak bad, you're speaking into your own future, man. And I sealed my destiny by speaking good things. I took responsibility, man. It wasn't the pastor's fault. It's not the fellowship, not the church, not this, her. It was me. That was my decision, you know. Apart from that, that was a great experience. And so she took that great experience. She went in there and got saved herself.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's
And
awesome,
3
man.
days later, man, her sister passed away from a drug overdose, from heroin.
Wow.
And I remember
Sad.
she rings me up and she's bawling. She's like, she's inconsolable. It's like, and I'm like, slow down. I don't understand what you're saying, you know. And she's like, I didn't even know she got saved. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
All she told me was her sister had passed away. Like, you know, she died from an overdose. And I said, where are you? She told me she's at the morgue. They're doing a viewing. I said, oh, well, mate, she's the mother of my kids. That's the least I can do. I'm not a heartless animal. You know, I'm go there, support her, and then I'll get on my way, you know.
Yeah.
And turned up there, man, and there we are. It's a morgue. It's dead bodies, and the pastor and his wife are there. She's been saved for 3 days, and they've come there to support her, and he's given me a flyer. I'm trying to console her best as I can. He's given me a flyer. It's like, and I'm like, man, I respect what you guys. I'm a big fan, but I'm not here for that, man. Just, you know, I'm just here for her. And mate, if you don't mind, look, just, you know, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, just take this flyer, mate. I just want to invite you out. We've got some meetings coming up. The guy was like, dude, mate.
Assistance, eh?
I'm not interested, man. And he's like, no. It's like, man, I'll just take it. Otherwise, it's just going to hassle me, you know.
Yeah.
Just took it, and just through the course of the conversation, just glanced upon it. And I caught the name, and the name was my first pastor.
Wow.
And it's like, and I loved my pastor, you know. But he went overseas, went to do some missionary work at the time, and it's kind of one of the, you know. And I thought, man, I'm coming to see him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm coming to see
That's
him.
awesome.
And
Assistance.
and you think about the hand of God. It could have been anyone. Could have been anyone. I mean, I don't know how many, the population of Australia back then, 16 million or something. But it was him. And it's like, there's something here, you know. And I went out to that service, and I didn't want to get saved, man, to be honest, because I knew what was at stake.
Yeah.
But he called me out. He said, come on, Chris, get up, come to the front. And it's like, no, you know, you can't do that. It doesn't work like that, you know. You can't. Come on, man. You got a choice here, man. Yeah, come on, dude. It's like, come, mate. You're full of pride. Come down here. Come on, come and pray. And it's like, mate. And he was right, you know.
Yeah.
And I got saved, and before you knew it, we got married, and
A few more kids after. And
a few more kids, and you know, bought a restaurant, made some, and there's been some decisions that haven't been great through, you know, from then. But you live, learn, you know, and you know. But man, I sit here today, and I'm a blessed man, you know.
Yeah,
I'm a blessed man,
great.
you know. So that's the sort of quick version of that.
Amazing. There's one guy that you were friends with, Fredy.
Yep.
Now, how'd you meet him?
Yeah, we grew up together. Actually, I stole his cricket bat. Taped it up, and it's just you know, he's a childhood friend, man. We must have been, we were in probably about first or second class, Bexley Primary School, and it was a good bat. Picked it up, stole it, and he found out. He came and goes, that's my bat, and I don't know what you're talking about. So so eventually that's how we met. You know, that's how we met. And from then, we've been good friends, man. We've been best mates, man.
Yeah.
is that how he come out to church as well for you
It
guys?
is, yeah.
Because I only met him at Dan Jones's wedding once.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I kind of met him, and he was helping out there. But
Yeah, no, good guy, man. And we used to hustle together. We grew up together. Did a lot of things together. Similar parents. He's Lebanese.
Yeah.
Masso, but similar parents, man.
What a mix.
Trying to, you know, make something. They've come over here for opportunity, and they're working. And so we just had a lot of time on our hands, and I won't say we're poor, but any money that was left over just went to savings. Parents are saving to try and get somewhere, so we're in the same boat. Like, what are we going to do? Let's work it out, And so we grew up thick and thin, man. We've been through a lot of dramas.
It sounded like you asked the question for a reason, though. There, Blake. Was there something?
He released the book.
He just released the second book as well. Yeah,
a second book.
Yeah.
I don't know about the first one. Do share.
What's the first one? Is it High Power? I forgot the names of his books, man.
I got to look it up.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about his what brought him to that. It may help him, fight some inner demons. It might help him to overcome. So maybe help him understand a little bit how some things about himself.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing to read, to write some things about, and he's got some stories, man. If anyone's got some stories and experiences to share, he has.
He's very talented storyteller as well. So it's like kind of grips you in.
Yeah,
it's like, wow, I was going half an hour ago, but I'm stuck here listening to this. But it was good, very cool, very cool guy.
Yeah. So there you go. But God's been good to me, man. God's been good to me.
Is there something in reference that you said you got saved in '87?
Yeah,
I think it was. So that's
right.
That's like 30-something years.
Yeah.
Is there? I know, obviously, through the ups and downs and stuff like that. Is there a reference point or something that, obviously, you made a decision to surrender to God? Is there something that's kept you? Is there like people? Is it the culture in the church? Obviously, we're part of the Potter's House, but is there something that you can this has always defined me and why I trust God so often with my life that you can share?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think once you establish the fact that God's real, and I think we've already established that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And once you understand about sin and, heaven and hell and eternity, it changes things, man. It changes things the way you live. And I think you eventually pick up sooner or later, and if you haven't, people will, that you're only as good as your last game, in one sense. You've got to really you've got to stay on top of your game, because the old us isn't too far away, you know. And I think if you're not maintaining daily disciplines, if you're not, you got to stay up to speed, man. But one interesting thing, our church is very unique, man, because there's not too many. My thing is, I don't have too many reference points to compare, apart from the Orthodox Church, and that's not even a fair fight, Yeah. But I haven't been to too many other churches, so all I really know is a Potter's House, and I love our church, man, and I love our fellowship, and I think there's nothing wrong with. I think if we preach Bible, we talk Bible, we live Bible, we read Bible, I think it's very
100%.
safe,
Yeah.
It's not so much, well, this is my opinion, and I just think, actually reading an interesting book on the founder of Netflix, and he talks about how he didn't really get some. It's not like he had some, some apparition like, this is what I'm going to do. It's actually, they've just fumbled and stumbled their way into where they're at now.
Yeah.
And when you think about our fellowship and
It's a similar thing.
And Pastor Mitchell, it's not like, he got a vision and the Macedonian man came and then, this is what you're going to do and I want you to do this and da. I think we've just kind of, hippies, they got so, it's a real interesting story and then discipleship and then, and vision and all these things. It's like I think Pastor Mitchell just sort of stumbled upon it in healing, and the things that we are today, we sort of take for granted, but we accept them as, well, this is what you do, but he's kind of, I don't say disrespect, he's fumbled and stumbled, he's kind of worked it out, and it's just a real blessing. We just follow in the wake of that,
In that privilege,
That's right.
Yeah, pave the way.
But I love our fellowship, man.
It's great.
I think nothing wrong with a bit of loyalty, and people.
I've never
hanging
been to
around.
another church myself, and so I think once I went with a mate. We went to Hillsong to go watch an event, and I just got to the doors, and I'm like, "What am I doing here?" No offense to Hillsong people that are saved, but I just felt like that's not my place.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to my church and go to a concert that we have one, and so.
Yeah, think of a plant having been grown in a specific soil. Yeah, like that, like these fake ones, right?
That's a good.
But you take it out and put it into a different piece of soil. Like, so for example, Australian, and then you go back to like an Indonesian type of soil, it would most likely would not grow the same way as it had been intended in the Australian soil. If you catch
That
my
makes
drift.
sense.
Yeah. So you got to go where you've been planted.
Yeah.
And as far as we're concerned, we've been planted in our churches.
Well, even to remove it and to replant it, you're damaging roots. You're just
Yes.
damaging it. It's just
Yes.
not going to be the same as it was. Maybe a different version, but it's not going to be the same nor a better version, because the best version is where it got planted.
I was in Ross's Connect group when I was real young, and he had this house. Went to the balcony. I was looking at all these trees, and he was giving like an illustration about what I was just discussing now. So you've got the trees well planted, deeply rooted in there, and it's likened to us, being in church, right? And then he's got these withered bushes, these withered branches. They're just dead. They're not in soil whatsoever. They're just completely dead. And that's what happens when you uproot yourself from God's house. And then I noticed these little pot plants. You can hang them around anywhere. And I thought to myself, man, they look like church hoppers to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're not going to grow.
Yeah, and it's a funny thought, that whole thing, that where some people, they just never get the revelation.
Yeah.
That they just never get the revelation, and it's sad, because they'd be an asset somewhere, you know.
I kind of grew up a little bit of a hustler coming before I got saved, obviously, and so there's a tendency as hustlers to or what I was known for, I was either all or nothing.
Yeah.
And you seem like that type of guy that's either all or nothing, and there's a lot of people out there that, they try and keep the hustle and stay saved, and they sit on the fence a little bit.
Can't.
And were you kind of like that? Were you like get saved and it was like, oh, now I know Jesus, I'm done, I'm ready to go? Or were you a bit jumping at either side, trying to keep the game? And
No, it was all in, man. When I got saved, it was all in. It was, once you know, you know. And I think your personality should carry through. Whatever you were as a sinner should sort of try and carry through as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes a hustle can be, you can use that.
Yeah, you can attribute some things to that, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you pick out the good parts, but there's some parts there where you just got to be careful that you're not crossing any lines,
That's right. That's why you got to do Kingdom Hustle. Shout out Kingdom Hustle right there.
Yeah, so I still remember actually, Blake, when you, I remember going through it was like a haunted house scene or some sort of scene. And it was the first time I saw you, man. It was a car crash scene. It was a car cut in half, and you were part of a group, a large. I don't know if it was a church group or some sort of youth group.
It was a social youth group. We were promoting bands by us for the youth, and that was my first experience of a Christian church. Right into the deep, turning the whole sanctuary into a haunted house. That is so weird. But we're going to join and help
Fairfield?
out. Hey?
Fairfield?
Yeah, Fairfield Church. Yeah. And believe it or not, I was technically a part of ministry before I got saved. So I was part of that. And
I'll believe it.
And it was just an amazing time.
In the car crash, you were there, and you're there, and you're in the front, like...
That's right. I was all bloodied up. So
That's right.
I think I might have said this before, but I'll say it again anyway. We went to the car wreckers. We brought up half a car. And we bought the bonnet and some windows, some doors and all that stuff. And about 300 people came over the course of 2 days. Half of the amount of people made decisions for Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not to, toot my own horn, but only one man stayed there and remained.
Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole church
still
invested
worth it.
all this time, all this money for a dirty, rotten Lebo filler like me.
Wow.
Is that what you are? Half Lebanese, half...
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. It's all mixed up.
Half
So-
I'm a half
Filipino,
caste as
wow.
well.
yeah.
What's that?
Half Māori, half Niuean.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're following a new way. It's great.
100%.
Yeah. No, it's, I remember, man, and I remember did you hear the guy in the car crash? He got saved, and
Yeah.
that was good. It was a big deal. It was a big event, man.
Yeah.
I remember waiting outside, actually, when they were giving out, like, you had to get a ticket or...
Yeah, that's right.
whatever,
Chip in a
pay
couple bucks.
a buck or, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, I thought to myself, they do this for a sinner. They do this for a sinner. Do you know? I'm gonna stick and stay, and doing all these magnificent events for the lost, for an eternal cause. So when I was in this community, and all credit to them, and I'm grateful that God has directed or orchestrated my past to now. What I was doing before was just for an earthly cause. What we're doing now, productions and outreaches and what forth, we're doing this for an eternal cause. So what we're doing in the physical will definitely affect in the spiritual, and God would definitely use, honor, and bless that and make it fruitful.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a big sacrifice, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Outreaches and all these things. Even this
Outreach, time,
podcast that
money.
we're doing now,
Yeah.
and Chris's time that we've got here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's instrumental for some people out there,
Mm-hmm.
I think I was on episode 5 and how my family have reacted to that. It's a crazy scene. So,
Yeah.
this podcast and just what it's about and what we do as a church, as a fellowship is amazing.
That's right. That's right.
I love hearing the stories, man. Just the guys that you've had on here, great stories. We were talking about it before, it's really good, I think everyone's got a story, and I love it, when they say, well, he's got a testimony, I think everyone's got a story,
Yeah.
100%. So if you want to be next, hit up Blake.
That's right. You just got to speak well, like my man Chris did.
Yeah, but it's a good question. And I think one thing for me, God's always been chasing me, man. You just know through different situations, through different circumstances.
Yeah.
You just know He never gives up, man. He never gives up, and He's there. It's just a matter of making the, it's the surrender. It's the whole surrender.
Yeah,
thing.
100%.
And that's right. And you're a living testament for it.
Big testimony.
Nah, thanks. Oh, well, we all are in
Yeah.
one sense.
It's good to hear. I, as I said, I knew you as a pastor, and that was about it. And then you went overseas, and so to get to hear your story has been great for me this session. It's been
It is.
massive.
Cool. Well, that's it. Chris, thank you so much for taking the
worries.
time and sharing your story with us.
No
Very
worries,
encouraging.
man. Thanks
Thanks
for having
heaps.
me. Vu, get well soon, man.
Yeah,
It's
come on,
not
bro.
the same. We know it's only a matter of time, man. You're a fighter. Man, we're looking forward to seeing you fit and healthy. And, mate, we're doing this for you, brother. So thanks, man. Thanks for everything you've been done up to here.
Love you, Vu.
We're waiting for you, man. The seats, it's getting cold, man. Come warm that sucker up for us, man.
I'm
Yeah,
only a
that's right.
fill-in, so we need you back here, all right?
Straight
Nah,
up.
just a guest host.
but taking nothing away from yourself, Jackson. But yeah,
That's right.
All for you, bro. We're praying for you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Listen to us on any podcast platform, Spotify, iTunes. Please support us on Patreon. This is the Moose Vu Sesh featuring Jax signing out.
Laters.
I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet.